Okay, Jason Moomo, JM on the Fly. And today I'm going to show you basically this. Everybody saw this. This is my crayfish, JM Articulated Cray. It's absolutely unbelievable. I mean, the action this thing has is unreal. And the thing's always rearing up, always ready to go, just like a real crayfish. See it? Beautiful action. Absolutely unbelievable. But if I asked you to grab a fly out of my box while we're out fishing, I doubt you would grab this. I mean, that is probably the ugliest thing you've ever seen tied. But again, that's the fly. That's the one. This is what everybody loves. But again, if you had to pick it out of a box, I don't think you'd be grabbing that one. So let's go over here. We're going to get this thing tied. Show you how it's done. Set my camera up and try and get everything together the way it should be. And I apologize for 1 second. I just have to put audio in here so I transfer that and I can see what's going on here. Okay, Jason Moomo, JM on the Fly, and I can adjust that a little bit more. There you go. Now you got a good view. Okay, basically, here's one that's dry. You can see what this guy looks like, and it's ugly. That's all there is to it. I mean, it's not a pretty fly. You got a nice lead head up front. We got a closed cell foam in the back, okay, in between these claws. And let me show you how we tie this baby up, because that's really what everybody wants to see. So we are going to take a stinger, size 6 stinger, Mustad 37-187 stinger hook. Hopefully you can see that. Hope we have a lot of glare. I'm gonna see if I could get this baby toned down a little bit, or what's going on that way, and turn this down, get this more on my film, and zoom in. We'll zoom in. There you go. Now let me get one of these hooks in here, and we could at least get started anyway, so we know what we're doing. Anyway, it is a stinger hook. It is a Mustad 34-187, and that's what the hook looks like. We're going to start with a piece of closed cell foam. Okay, everybody's seen this stuff. Basically, it's stuff for making poppers and things out of. It's cylinder foam. It's basically just a closed cell foam. Gonna take a little piece of that, about a 1/2 inch big, 1/2 inch tall, and it is 1/2 inch round, by the way. That's what I'm using. And I'm snipping this kind of a cone shape. Okay, so I'm just kind of coming around and giving it kind of a cone shape. Okay, and the last one I'm going to do a nice clean cone. So when you're all done, you end up with a little cone shape type of deal. Then we're going to take our stinger hook, and we're going to put that in from the back side, like that. And I try to stay pretty close to an edge. I don't want it like dead center, because I'm trying to get as much hook gap as I can. Again, push that through, and if you can see, I'm going to try and come out right there near the bottom edge. You can see where that tip of that's coming out, right near the bottom. Pop it on. And that's kind of where I want that. Okay, so if I could get, and I don't know why I have such a glare. Here, let me try and get in here a little bit better, and try and knock this glare down a little bit and see what the heck's going on now. I could take that to there. Okay, let me see. That looks pretty decent. Okay, anyway, put that little piece of tube there on, or foam, and we're going to slide that up, and we're going to just pop this in the vise and get that bottom secure. Again, I'm using a flat latex here. It doesn't matter what you use as far as thread. This just happens to be convenient, or a flat nylon, I'm sorry, flat nylon thread. Just something I could zip everything together with. And again, we're going to use some super glue gel. Run that on the shank a little bit, right like that. It doesn't take a lot, just a little bead. Get it on the shank. And we're going to run this piece and just kind of twist it up. And I want that thing right at the bend. you'll see what I'm talking about here. Pretty much I want that right there on the tip. You mother, sometimes them things just like that. Okay, so there, that's even. Right there, that's where I want it, right there. And then you wrap underneath, and then up on top, and underneath, and on top. And that's all you need. That gives you your floating. That's pretty much all ready to go. That's going to float. Just touch it. All you have to do is touch that with a paper towel and get the excess glue off. Okay? And we are now ready to tie, so we could set that into our area. We're going to take our silly legs, or whatever they call them. Nice little legs like that. You take the whole thing the way it comes in. You cut that right in half this way. Okay? So there's half. You set this half down. You take the other half. You divide that in half again. This way. Okay? So about like that. So you have half the fibers and half the fibers. We're going to take that half of the fibers, and we're just going to kind of wrap them around the hook. We'll come up, pinch, 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 and I'm working this out through to about, whatever, about the halfway point, I guess, of that. Now, as we come back, I'm going to put these fibers kind of where I want them, as far as around the hook, so they're kind of all over the place, but really not down where the hook is itself. See that? So they're kind of splayed all around, but they're not down where the hook shank is, so I have that problem to deal with. Okay, so basically there's none at the bottom. If I flip it, you see how clean that is? They're just all around the top, just like that. Okay, next step is our claws. Our claws are out of the marabou that hardly ever gets used. So I'm going to show you what this is. See the little sticky pieces there? They have a stem. If you look, they have a stem that runs the whole way up through them. Usually stuff that you would throw away. Works very good. You're going to tie the stems fast, and again, your claws could be about the length of the shaft or the shank, and just lay them alongside, and we're going to do one to one side, and that marabou with the shank in will keep that together looking like a claw, and one to my side, one to the camera side, one to my side, just like that. So we have our two claws on there, and just work that up. Beautiful. Don't worry too much about whatever, if they're the same or not, because no two crayfish have the same claws anyway, so it's nothing to worry about. Anyway, there are your claws. Now we're going to go with a little bit of marabou in, we're going to go with this orange color, because that's kind of the color we picked for this guy here. So we come in, and we're just going to do, remember this thing rides upside down, so this is actually the bottom that I'm tying on now. And that's just a little piece of marabou, again, right behind the cork. I'm going to call it the cork, but it's really the foam. But yeah, right behind that, and we're going to get rid of the excess marabou. And just tie that down. And we're going to flip it so the way it's going to ride. And we're going to put another piece of marabou up front. So we can grab, again, another piece of marabou. Just stroke that right up to the front. We're going to lay that in right into the hook bend. And we are going to work that right up to behind the foam. Or cork, or whatever we're calling it. I'm calling it foam now because it is foam. Okay, just like that. Now we're going to come back and we're going to just tidy all this up and just come over top of it. And you can see it just compressing down just like that. And we basically have everything that we need out the front. I'm going to come here, I'm going to grab all these rubber legs. I want them a little bit longer than the than the claws and just snip them off. Okay, so now that's all done. Now we're going to come in with our, and this is Crystal Flash Chenille. And this Crystal Flash Chenille, this one happens to be pumpkin color, which is a bit of an orange color, of course. And we're just going to work our way back with a body, wrap after wrap, pull back and wrap, just like that. So I'm going to tie that off right there. Only want to come back to about halfway back the shank. So I'm going to wrap back over this stuff and have a nice tie-in point, if you can see what we did there. Now I've got a nice tie-in point right there. Now I'm going to come in and I'm going to take about, one of these, I'm going to take about 5 fibers, 5 little rubber legs, like that, maybe 6, I don't know what I have, somewhere in 5 or 6. And I'm going to, let's turn that this way, and we're going to figure 8 another pair of legs in here, just like this. Come through and get behind that. There we go. Figure 8 another pair of legs in here, like this. Don't worry too much about getting everything perfect. We're going to bond these in. So what I want to do is I'm just going to make sure that they're laying dead on top and everything's laying the way I want. You're going to take the Bondic, we're going to put it right on the intersection of that rubber, right over the top. And we're just going to hit that with the light, okay? So that's going to kind of keep them in place right there. We're going to flip it. I'm going to hit it again. And again, if something needed tweaked or pulled or something, you could always hold that rubber as you heat it, as you cure it with the light. But everything looks good here. I don't need to be pulling on anything, but you could if you had to. And that's that. Now we're going to take some more marabou. Take another piece of marabou. And we are going to cover the face, or put another cover. Remember, this rides this way. This is the way we want to put this on. So we're going to put another nice marabou just into the hook tip, okay? So I'm just going to lay that on like that. Pull these rubber legs back. Pull that marabou back. Put a couple wraps on, and just work our way back. Done a good job here where we got everything the way it should be. We're going to come in and snip that out and get rid of that. Okay, all that gets pulled back and tied in place like this. And now we're going to come in with our pumpkin crystal flash chenille. And we're going to tie that in. Okay, so now we're going to come in and make our final wraps. Pull back and wrap just like that. I'm going to do one more, but I don't want to get close to that eye because I don't want any interference there. So we're going to stay back a little bit from the eye. Couple wraps there. We're going to cut out that out. Now we're going to tie it back over top while we pull back the fibers. See that? Expose the eye, and I'm pretty sure you may not be able to see that exactly. I'll turn the lights. How about that? There. Now you see how I could see the eye of my hook. I'll just pull back them fibers so that they don't get hammered, just like that. Okay. Now we have a nice clean end to this. Nice little head. We're going to finish up that up. Pull that, cut that off. Now we got to make the front portion. This is a floating portion. Now we got to make the sinking portion. Sinking portion is made on a shank. And I have a 25mm shank by MFC. These are the fly shanks that I'm using. they come out of the pack with the eyes basically the same direction. So I guess, how do I show you that? Well, let me just show you. You can see that the eye is the same way. I want to twist one of them so we can make it accommodate what we're doing a little bit better. So if you could see basically that I'm sliding into the vise, and that looks like that. I'm going to pinch, okay, the eye of this, and I'm just going to twist that. And now what I'm doing is making it counter. So we have one way now and one the other way. See that? So that lines up with that. Got that? And that's the idea, okay? So that we have everything correct. Now we're going to take our, again, this little piece, this little tip here bends up. So I want my hook riding, my hook would be riding up, okay? So just reach in and put this onto the back end in such a way that that hook is riding up, just like our piece. Then if you just simply get, and I'll show you this real quick too, this is actually pretty cool. Take a rubber band, pretty much what I do with all my articulated flies, and just throw that on. Now you don't have to mess with that while you're tying the shank, and you can adjust it, do whatever you want to do. I want that back a little bit further. You're going to take, let's take our thread, and we're going to get that back wrapped just like that. Nice and heavy, beautiful. I want a little hair more twist in that. It looks like I'm off just a little bit. So I want a little bit more bend in it, and I want a hair more twist. It's getting pretty close, pretty close. And again, all you're doing is lining it. It's completely up to you. Now I think when I put this together, yeah, that looks really good. See the alignment, that looks really nice. And that's pretty much all we're really looking for, is just to keep the alignment correct. And we'll tie that in. Now we're here, we're working on the shank. So we're right back to what we do as far as, we're going to put a ball of Bondex right in the back. That's the next step. Ball of Bondex right there. You see that? Bam. Nice little ball. You can see that circled. Beautiful. You can see we made a nice little ball. And that is going to, and I apologize for putting that in the camera, but I got to get this cured. There we go. Now we got a nice bead. You can see that bead basically formed a ball, and we are ready now to tie. And what did we do back up here? The same exact thing. We're going to go with the marabou first. Go with the marabou. We're going to try and cover that end. So let's see what we got. So we're going to go with marabou, enough to cover what would be the joint. We don't want to get that crazy and leave it stupid long, but we do want that joint covered. So we're just going to come in, a couple nice wraps, work our way front. We'll lift this all up and get rid of it. Excess marabou, get rid of. And again, I tie that in. We're going to tie that and come work our way right to the front. And I want that to be very close to what we're doing here. I'm going to grab another little thing of rubber legs right here. Another little batch. So we're doing the same thing as what we did in the middle of that intersection back here. Okay, so we're going to take these legs and we're going to figure eight them in right here at the shank. Beautiful. Just like that. There you go. So we got a nice little leg division there. Draw them back, get them out the road, just like that. And you can see we got a little batch to either side, just like that. Again, we're going to come into the Bondix, and this Bondic I'm going to actually, this one here actually have a little bit of strain on the rubber, so I am going to hold this these legs in position as I do this. And that's pretty much it. Now they'll stay straight right where I want them, okay? Again, we're going to turn this upside down, and we're going to put another little batch inside here to kind of blend everything together and make it all look pretty. Come in again with the light, hit that. And we're pretty much ready to rock and roll and get this baby finished. So we got lead eyes to put on it yet. Dumbbell eyes. I'm fishing heavy water in the Susquehanna River. I want heavy eyes because I'm fishing, not only am I fishing these flat, but you can use any size eye that you want, okay? Just remember, the hook is facing down. This will always go on the opposing side, so it rides upside down. See, there's my hook point. I don't know if you can see that in there, but my hook is right here, and it's going to end up riding like that. So you always put the lead in the bottom. Of course, the way I have the vise right now, it looks like it's on top, but that's actually the bottom of the fly. And you'll see what we're talking about here shortly. So we're just going to be wrapping and wrapping and wrapping and getting these lead eyes in place. You can hold back all the rest of the obstacles as you do it. And you come in with a little bit of super glue gel. You're going to hit that and put enough on there that you could get it all smeared in everywhere. There we go. And we're just going to cinch these babies in. Put nice wraps on them. Fall it to the back. And again, we're going to go to the ice chenille, crystal flash chenille. Come right up over the top. And again, here we go, finishing them off. Pull that back, 1, 2, 3, and around the top and back. And that is it. We're going to pull that to the front, right like that. Get rid of our rubber leg. And we're going to actually tie that in like that. Bam, done deal. Come in, cut out our excess crystal flash. Pull back. And we form a little head there, just like that. Yeah. And that is the fly. That is pretty much the fly. That is the Cray. Don't go bragging about this thing in your box. When you show people this, they're going to think you don't know what you're doing as far as tying. But when they see it in the water, they'll soon realize that you know exactly what you're doing. This thing is just unbelievable, the action that it has, as you've seen in the sink there, running that. All I'm doing is lengthening, cutting them to length, and that's kind of up to you. And you have, of course, your other ones that are just beyond your claws. Rambling on here. Okay, there you go. That is the JM Articulated Cray. And it is a wonderful, wonderful pattern. JM on the fly, and I am out of here. I told everybody I was going to show this one, and there you go. Knocked it out real quick. I'd like to do a better video on it maybe some other time, but for now, you have the tying of it. So there you go. Jim the Fly. I'm out of here.